From the kitchen of the cabin, it's the 5 Games for Doomsday review.
Carnival of Monsters. I remember the laughs I had when I first heard the phrase "small is beautiful" attributed. I was in a friend's parents' living room idling one of my 17-year-old afternoons on a BBC Two documentary. I've no idea what it's about and would have forgotten it entirely if it hadn't been for the laughs it solicited. In stentorian BBC tones, they eulogise the phrase "small is beautiful," coined by Leopold Kohr. The reverence with which they treated this banal string of syllables was hilarious to us. It was absurd, just another example of the pomposity of academia. We were still in education, full of essays by dusty old men in cluttered offices that stripped Shakespeare and Larkin of their vitality with their arid interrogations. The kind of dusty old men that would put the weight of the world onto something as inconsequential as "small is beautiful," so they could get tenure and be a professional know-it-all. We were young. We knew better. We knew there was more weight in a Dave Berman couplet than in all the economics textbooks in all the world. So we laughed at them. We laughed at their bullshit seriousness and their self-fulfilling profundity. I look back on that phrase now though, and I see it might just be brilliant. Its transparency, its weightlessness allows us to extract our own meaning from it, or rather, place our own meaning onto it. Like abstract art or absurdist drama, your interpretation says more about you than the art itself. "Small is beautiful" is a Rorschach phrase. It means whatever you think it means. For my purpose, I take it to mean simplicity. This is the small, but the beauty is the depth that emerges from simplicity. Carnival of Monsters is a game that lasts 20 minutes with a full player count, but that time is packed with decisions that belie the apparent simplicity of the game. In Carnival of Monsters, players take on the roles of Victorian adventurers in a parallel universe where mythic beasts roam the hills waiting to be caught and paraded before the inquisitive eyes of the Monstrological Society. This takes the form of a draft in which players take a card and either play it straight away or save it for later use. There are land cards that provide you with your capturing power, and monster cards that give you the points that you'll need to win the game. There are contract cards which give you even more points at the end, and staff cards and event cards that give you persistent or one-time bonuses. After 4 rounds of drafting, points are totaled and the player with the most wins. This is a card game that has creatures, lands, and is designed by Richard Garfield, but this is where the similarities with Magic ends. This is a game that is, on the surface, simple, almost willfully simple. But as with other great designs, the simplicity of your actions are a brilliantly tooled, user-friendly interface with which to access the depth of the game. You take a card and you can keep it or play it. If you keep it, it can be played subsequently at any time in the future. It is in this freedom that the game thrives. This is a game of freedom, with loans being the only potential penalty, but an over-enthusiastic playing of cards or a lack of control of your money can prevent you from winning. It is this freedom that provides the players with future goals that propel them through the game. It is in the keeping of cards that the game shows its depth. A card that is seemingly impossible to play now can be kept and worked towards with huge potential payoffs in the future. There are no useless cards in this game, just cards you can't use yet. The only potential drawback is one that is levelled at Magic, except this time it could affect the whole table, and that is you might get a deal of the cards that is useless for everybody. It's conceivable, but in my plays it's failed to happen, and the distribution of different types of cards seems thought out enough to make this only a faint possibility. There is an amazing time to depth ratio in this game. This is a game that delivers a full experience in 20 minutes. This is a game that is simple, but not slight. It could do without its board, but extraneous components aside, there is so much to recommend in this game, and it is Moorish in the sense that you want to play it more than once in a row. This game is a picture definition for the phrase "small is beautiful." It's seemingly simple, but there is so much more going on underneath. Thank you for listening, and this review was made possible by the support of my patrons. You can become one too at patreon.com/5G4D.